We're about to have what might be one of the most important health conversations you'll ever have, especially if you're over 50. And no, I'm not exaggerating.
This is about protecting the very core of who you are, your mind. So let me just ask you straight up, what do you think is the single biggest thing you can actually change to lower your risk of getting dementia? You know, your mind probably jumps to a few usual suspects. But get this, it's not your diet. It's not how much you exercise. It's not even if you smoke. The shocking answer, and this is confirmed by the world's absolute top researchers, is untreated hearing loss. It has a bigger impact on your long-term brain health than any of those other things. And look, this isn't just some random theory from a new study. This is a direct quote from the Lancet Commission. These guys are basically the final word on dementia prevention on the entire planet. They're not just saying it's a risk factor. They're saying it's the largest one you can actually do something about. Now, I know that sounds absolutely terrifying, and I get it. But before you get overwhelmed, you have to know this. While the risk is really, really serious, the solution is incredibly powerful, and it's proven. 48%. Just take a second and let that number sink in. This one number comes from a landmark, gold standard clinical trial, and honestly, it represents a massive breakthrough in how we can protect our brains as we get older. So here's what that 48% actually means. In this huge study called the Achieve trial, they followed older adults with hearing loss. The group that did nothing, well, their brain function declined at a certain rate. Let's call that 100%. But the group that got hearing aids, their rate of decline slowed by nearly half. It's that simple. Treating the ears protected the brain. So you're probably wondering, how on earth is that possible? How can a problem in your ears have such a massive effect on your brain? Well, it all comes down to three silent but powerful mechanisms that work together. Let's break them down. First up, something called cognitive overload. Think about it. When you can't hear clearly, your brain has to work overtime 24/7 just trying to fill in the gaps. It's straining, guessing, decoding, and that constant effort hijacks a huge amount of mental energy that should be going to other important jobs, like, forming memories or thinking.
The best way to picture it is to think of your computer, right? If you have way too many programs and tabs open all at once, what happens? Everything gets slow and sluggish. That is exactly what's happening inside your head. Your brain is so busy just trying to hear that memory and focus get pushed to the side. It's why a crowded restaurant can feel so utterly exhausting. Okay, the second mechanism is even more direct, and it's called brain atrophy. The parts of your brain that process sound, they're just like muscles. If you don't use them, they get weaker and smaller. It's the classic use it or lose it rule, but applied directly to your brain tissue. And I want to be 100% clear about this. We are talking about physical changes to your brain. Brain scans show that the areas for hearing and even memory can literally shrink. They lose volume when they're not getting enough sound stimulation. This isn't just some abstract idea. Your brain is physically changing. And that brings us to the third one, social isolation. And honestly, this one's just heartbreaking because trying to follow a conversation is so draining. People with hearing loss just start to pull away. They say no to dinner invitations. They sit quietly at family gatherings. They just withdraw. And we know for a fact that loneliness is a huge independent risk factor for dementia. And just think for a second about what's lost when that happens. The laughter, the arguments, the stories, all of that is like exercise for your brain. By pulling away from that, you're essentially starving your brain of the vital nourishment it needs to stay healthy. And here's the real kicker. These three things, they feed off each other. It's a vicious downward spiral. The cognitive overload from straining to hear makes you withdraw socially. That social withdrawal means your brain gets less stimulation, and that lack of stimulation speeds up the brain atrophy, which, of course, makes your thinking and memory even worse. See the cycle? So, if the science is this clear and the solution is so effective, why on earth isn't everyone running out to get their hearing treated? Well, the biggest hurdle isn't medical, it's emotional. Just look at this timeline. On average, a person waits 7 to 10 years from the time they first notice a hearing problem to the time they actually do something about it.
That's a whole decade of preventable brain decline. A decade where all that damage we just talked about is happening day after day, totally unchecked. So why? Why do we wait so long? It really just boils down to a few things: stigma and vanity. We've been conditioned to think hearing aids make you look old or weak. And then, of course, there's simple denial. It's just so much easier to say, my hearing is fine, everyone else is just mumbling. But here's the profound, gut-punching irony in all of this. The very thing people do to try and avoid looking old, refusing to wear hearing aids, is the very thing that speeds up the cognitive decline they're so afraid of. You're basically trading a little bit of short-term vanity for long-term brain damage. Okay, that was the tough part. We've laid out the problem. We know the stakes are high. So now let's talk about the most important part, the solution. There is a clear, totally manageable path forward to protect your brain. Here it is, your 6-step brain protection plan. It's so straightforward. 1. If you're over 50, just go get a baseline hearing test. 2. If they find a loss, don't wait. Act on it right away. 3. Wear your hearing aids all day, every day. Your brain needs that consistent stream of sound. 4. Use that better hearing to jump back into your social life. 5. Combine this with all the other good brain habits like exercise and good sleep. And 6. Get your hearing checked every year, just like you get your eyes checked. And hey, for every son, daughter, spouse, or friend watching this right now, if someone you love is pushing back on this, please listen to me. This is the single most loving conversation you can have with them. Don't make it about, you can't hear me. Frame it as, I love you, and I want to protect your amazing brain with you for as long as we possibly can. Which brings us to the final and most crucial mental shift we all need to make. We have to completely reframe what this technology is. A hearing aid is not a sign of getting old, and it is absolutely not a sign of weakness. It's a brain protection tool. I'm going to say that one more time. A hearing aid is one of the most powerful, scientifically proven tools we have to keep our minds sharp and fight back against cognitive decline. It's not about admitting defeat. It's about being proactive. It's smart. It's powerful. So the bottom line is this simple, undeniable fact. Hearing health is brain health. They are completely linked. The evidence is overwhelming, and the path forward is crystal clear. So the only real question left is, are you ready to protect yours?